hidden.
Hello and good morning. It is Sunday, December 29th, 2024, and it is time for our final episode of Star Trek Radio Theater here in this season 6. Tonight, or this morning, we are doing Star Trek Generations, the 7th of the 13th Star Trek films, released back in 1994. The closest thing there is to like a Christmas thing in Star Trek, maybe aside from Q turning Voyager into an ornament that one time. So we have a great cast here to break it all down. We're going to do this script read, and we're going to jump right in. We're very thrilled to have Sean Farrick here from TrekCulture.com. Hello, Sean.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Glad to have you with us. And we got a great crew here from the Live Long and Podcast to come in. We've had a couple role reassignments. Stephen, or Riker, will now be played by Justin. And Worf will now be played by Tom Mott Tyrell. And I think those are the biggest updates we're going to get into. And with no further ado, we are going to jump right into this broadcast. We are starting a little late this morning, so if anyone's been holding on and waiting, we apologize and thank you for your patience. And there will be an edited version that will come out after the fact with everything else. So with that, we'll start with the music cue and go from there, everybody. All right. Good luck and break a leg, everyone. All right, let's bring it up. And hit the music.
A champagne bottle, Dom Perignon 2265, is spinning through space. This goes on for a while, and we don't have the rights to the music. Eventually, it smashes into the hull of a ship. It's the Enterprise, NCC 1701B. A crowd is gathered at the window of the space dock, watching the christening. We focus on the Enterprise-B bridge. As the turbolift doors open, journalists descend upon its unseen inhabitants, thrusting cameras and recording devices into their faces.
How does it feel to be back on the Enterprise bridge? Can I ask you a few questions? We'd like to know how you feel about being back.
The journalists get pushed out of the way, and we see Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov exit the turbolift.
Excuse me. There will be plenty of time for questions later. I am Captain John Harriman, and I would like to welcome you all aboard.
It's our pleasure.
I just want you to know how excited we all are to have a group of living legends with us on our maiden voyage. I remember reading about your missions when I was in grade school.
Oh, really? Well, may we have a look around?
Please.
Chekhov sees a familiar face.
Demora!
Captain, this is the first Starship Enterprise in 30 years without James T. Kirk in command. How do you feel about that, sir?
Oh, just fine. I'm glad to be here to send her on her way.
And what have you been doing since you retired?
Keeping busy.
Captain Kirk.
Why don't we give the captain a chance to look around?
Kirk has a quick look around the bridge, his gaze lasting longer on the captain's chair than anywhere else.
Captain, excuse me. I'd like you to meet helmsman of the Enterprise-B, Demora. Ensign Demora Sulu.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. My father's told me some interesting stories about you.
Your father? Is Hikaru Sulu?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you've met her before. When she was...
It wasn't that long ago. Couldn't have been more than...
12 years, sir.
12 years?
Absolutely.
Incredible. Congratulations, Ensign. It wouldn't be the Enterprise without a Sulu at the helm.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure Hikaru must be very proud of you.
I hope so.
I was never that young.
No, you were younger.
Damn fine ship, yeah, if you ask me.
Scotty, it absolutely amazes me.
What would that be, sir?
Sulu, when did he find time for a family?
Well, like they always say, if something's important, you will make the time.
Kirk makes a face.
Ah, so that's why you seem so restless, finding retirement a little lonely, are we?
You know, I'm glad you're an engineer. With tact like that, you'd make a lousy psychiatrist.
Excuse me, gentlemen, if you'll please take your seats.
Yes, of course.
Kirk gives the captain's chair a nostalgic pat as he moves away to sit with his former crewmates.
Ahem. Prepare to leave space dock. Aft thrusters ahead 1/4, port and starboard at station keeping. Captain Kirk, I would be honored if you would give the order to get underway.
Thank you very much.
Oh, please, sir.
No.
Oh, please. I insist.
Kirk gives in and stands to give his orders.
Take us out.
The crew breaks into applause. Kirk sits back down.
Very good, sir.
Brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, be quiet.
The Enterprise leaves space dock. Sometime later, Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov have made their rounds of the ship. As they make their way back onto the bridge, the journalists are in their faces again.
Gentlemen, tell me, now that you've seen the rest of the ship, how does it feel to be back?
Oh, fine.
Fine.
He's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just cleared the asteroid belt. Our course today will take us out beyond Pluto and then back to space dock. Just a quick run around the block.
Captain, will there be time to conduct any tests on the warp drive system?
We're picking up a stress call, Captain.
Kirk immediately jumps out of his chair, realizes it's not his command, and sits back down.
On speaker.
This is the transport ship Lakul. We're caught in some kind of energy distortion. 2 ships in our convoy. We're trapped in a severe gravimetric distortion. We can't break free. We need immediate help. It's tearing us apart. This is the transport.
The Lakul is one of 2 ships transporting Elorian refugees to Earth.
Ensign Sulu, can you locate them?
The ships are bearing at 310 Mark 215. Distance 3 light years.
Signal the closest starship. We are in no condition to mount a rescue.
Kirk stands, ready to protest. Harriman counters Kirk's protest before he even opens his mouth.
We don't even have a full crew aboard.
We're the only one in range, sir.
That close to Earth, not even finished yet, and still the only ship in range? Typical Starfleet.
Well then, I guess it's up to us.
Kirk sits back down.
Helm, lay an intercept course and engage at maximum warp.
Aye, sir.
Kirk is restless in his chair, seemingly wanting to stand several times to interject, but deciding against it. Scotty leans over to him.
Captain, is there something wrong with your chair?
We're within visual range of the energy distortion, Captain.
On screen.
Some sort of energy ribbon is seen on the view screen, moving quickly through space.
What the hell is that?
I've located the transport ships. Their hulls are starting to buckle under the stress. They won't survive much longer.
The ships are just above the ribbon, surrounded by lightning coming from it. The lightning intensifies and surrounds one of the ships. The Enterprise begins to shake.
We're encountering severe gravimetric distortions from the energy ribbon, Captain.
Oh, we'll have to keep our distance. We don't want to get pulled in too.
Kirk rushes over to Harriman.
Tractor beam. Tractor beam.
We don't have a tractor beam.
You left space dock without a tractor beam?
It won't be installed until Tuesday. Ensign Sulu, try generating a subspace field around the ships. That might break them free.
There's too much quantum interference, Captain.
Well, what about venting plasma from the warp nacelles? That could disrupt the ribbon's hold on the ships.
Aye, sir. Releasing drive plasma. It's not having any effect, sir. I think the ribbons hold.
Sir, the starboard vessel's hull is collapsing.
One of the two ships explodes.
How many people were on that ship?
265.
Sir, the LaForge hull integrity is down to 12%.
Harriman thinks for a moment, but looks defeated. He has a sudden idea that seems to spark hope.
Captain Kirk, I would appreciate any suggestions you might have.
Kirk takes immediate action.
First, move us within transporter range and beam those people aboard the Enterprise.
What about the gravimetric distortions? They'll tear us apart.
Risk is a part of the game if you want to sit in that chair.
Helm, close to within transporter range.
And second,
Kirk turns to the journalist that has a camera pointed in their faces.
turn that damn thing off.
The cameraman is pushed away by Kirk. The Enterprise gets closer to the ribbon.
We're within range, sir.
Beam them directly to sickbay.
Aye, sir.
How big is your medical staff?
Oh, the medical staff. They don't arrive until Tuesday.
Chekhov mutters something in Russian and then points to three journalists.
Oh, no, you, and you. You just became nurses. Let's go.
Main engineering reports fluctuations in the warp plasma relays.
Sir, I'm having trouble locking onto them. They appear to be in some sort of temporal flux.
Scotty?
What the hell? Their life signs are phasing in and out of the space-time continuum.
Phasing? To where?
Sir, the hull's collapsing.
Beam them out of there, Scotty.
Transport complete. I got 47 out of 150.
Suddenly, the ship is rocked by a huge explosion.
Report.
We're caught in a gravimetric field emulating from the trailing edge of the ribbon.
All engines, full reverse!
We focus on the Enterprise-B sickbay. Chekhov is surrounded by concerned Elorian refugees.
You're going to be all right. We are going to help you. We are going to help you.
It's okay. Everything's fine.
A man with a bleeding wound across his face is upset and disoriented.
Why?
It's all right. You're safe. You're on the Enterprise.
No, I have to go. I have to go back.
You have to stay right here.
You don't understand. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Please.
Chekhov tranquilizes him with a hypo spray.
What was he talking about?
I have no idea.
Chekhov makes his way over to a woman wearing a familiar hat, standing in a corner.
Can I help you?
She turns. It's Guinan. She seems dazed and confused.
It's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You just need to rest. Come over here.
Guinan looks incredibly upset and disturbed. We focus on the Enterprise-B bridge. Officers are still getting thrown around. Scotty is at the helm.
There is no way to disrupt the gravimetric field of this magnitude. Hull integrity at 82%. But I have a theory.
I thought you might.
An antimatter discharge directly ahead might disrupt the field long enough for us to break away.
Photon torpedo?
Aye, sir. We're losing main power.
Float torpedo bays. Prepare to fire on my command.
Captain, we don't have any torpedoes.
Don't tell me. Tuesday.
Kirk looks at Harriman. Harriman opens his mouth to speak, but is interrupted.
Hull integrity at 40%. Captain, it may be possible to simulate a torpedo blast using the resonance burst from the main deflector dish.
Where are the deflector arrays?
Deck 15, Section 21 Alpha.
I will go. You have the bridge.
Kirk lets Harriman start to leave and sits down in the captain's chair. But just as Harriman gets to the turbo lift, Kirk comes to his senses.
Wait, your place is on the bridge of your ship. I'll take care of it. Scotty, keep things together until I get back.
I always do.
We focus on the Enterprise-B Jeffries tubes. They are venting gas and are dimly lit. Kirk makes his way to the deflector room in engineering, almost falling several times. He manages to get to the panel and opens it up, revealing a bunch of isolinear chips. We focus on the bridge.
45 seconds to structural collapse. Bridge to Captain Kirk.
We focus on the deflector room.
Kirk here.
I don't know how much longer I can hold her together.
Kirk moves a few chips and plugs in some kind of device.
That's it. Let's go.
We focus on the bridge.
Activate main deflector.
We're breaking free.
One of the energy lightning beams hits the bottom of the Enterprise. It sends everyone on the bridge flying again. Demora manages to make it to her station.
It's all right. I'm increasing power to compensate. We're clear.
The ship stops shaking. Harriman is excited.
Yay! You did it, Kirk! Damage report, Ensign.
There's some buckling on the starboard ensign, and we've also got a hull breach in engineering section. Emergency force fields in place and holding.
Where?
Sections 20 through 28 on decks 13, 14, and 15.
Bridge to Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk, please respond. Have Chekhov meet me in deck 15.
We focus on the Enterprise-B corridor. Scotty and Harriman are walking down it. There's damage everywhere. Engineering is a mess and almost completely missing. A force field is all that separates them from open space. Chekhov rushes in.
My God! Was anyone in here?
I...
The camera pans and we see the extent of the damage. Captain Kirk is nowhere to be seen. "78 years later, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander William T. Riker, and the rest of the senior staff of the USS Enterprise-D have gathered on the ship's holodeck. They are aboard a 19th century sailing ship, also named USS Enterprise. It is anchored at sea. All are dressed in 19th century Navy officers' dress uniforms.
Bring out the prisoner!
Worf emerges from below deck. He is not wearing his coat or cocked hat. His hands are in shackles. Troy and LaForge hold him to face judgment.
Mr. Worf, I always knew this day would come. Are you prepared to face the charges?
Answer him.
I am prepared.
Riker opens up a fancy-looking scroll.
We, the officers and crew of the USS Enterprise, being of sound mind and judgment, hereby make the following charges against Lieutenant Worf. 1. That he did knowingly and willfully perform above and beyond the call of duty on countless occasions. 2. Most seriously, that he has earned the admiration and respect of the entire crew.
Mr. Worf, I hereby promote you to the rank of Lieutenant Commander, with all the rights and privileges thereto, and may God have mercy on your soul.
The whole crew cheer and applaud.
Hip hip, hip hip, hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip,
Hooray!
hip hip.
Hooray!
Hooray! Congratulations, Mr. Worf.
Thank you, sir.
Extend the plank!
Into the sea with him!
Feed them to the sharks!
Walk the plank!
Lower the badge of office!
An officer's hat is lowered over the end of the plank.
He'll never make it. No one ever has. Half a crown, he doesn't make it!
Balance!
Worf jumps up, grabs the hat, and safely lands back onto the end of the plank, only losing his footing momentarily.
Get it, boy! Yeah!
Yes, yes, Worf.
Klingon summer!
If there's one thing I've learned over the years, is never to underestimate a Klingon.
Worf puts the hat on while his crewmates cheer.
Worf!
Computer, remove the plank.
The plank disappears and Worf plummets into the ocean.
Number one, that's retract the plank, not remove the plank.
Of course, sir.
Riker leans over the side of the ship and yells out to Worf.
Sorry!
Worf is not a merry man. Data makes his way over to Crusher, who seems to be laughing the hardest at Riker's prank.
Doctor, I must confess, I am uncertain as to why someone falling into freezing water is amusing.
Oh, it's all in good fun, Data.
Fun?
Fun.
I do not understand.
You got to get into the spirit of things. Learn to be spontaneous. Live in the moment. Do something unexpected. Get it?
Got it!
Data pushes Crusher overboard. Worf, who is in the process of climbing out, tries to grab her, and they both end up in the water.
Oh!
Data looks to his crewmates with a smile, but quickly loses it when he sees their horrified expressions.
Data.
That was...
not funny.
All hands make sail. Sicken souls and courses, stand by the braces.
Ah, Will. Just imagine what it was like. No engines, no computers. Just the wind and the sea and the stars to guide you.
Bad food, brutal discipline, no women.
Bridge to Captain Picard.
Picard here.
There's a message, a personal message from Earth.
Put it through down here. The best thing about a life at sea was that no one could reach you. This was freedom, Will. Computer. Arch.
As Picard makes his way to the arch, he takes a moment to berate a crewman.
Look alive there!
Picard opens the message. While reading, his expression changes to one of obvious distress. Troy, who is steering the ship, senses his mood shift.
Here, take the wheel.
A holographic Navy man takes the wheel. She makes her way over to Picard.
Captain, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Excuse me. Computer. Exit.
Picard leaves.
Mr. LaForge, set the royals and the stunsails.
What's a sun sail, sir?
You see that last yard arm just above that?
Bridge to holodeck 3.
Riker here.
We're picking up a distress call from Amargosa Observatory, sir. They say they're under attack.
Red alert! All hands to battle stations. Captain Picard to the bridge.
We focus on the bridge. Most of the bridge crew are still dressed in their Navy uniforms. On the view screen, the observatory bears scorch marks and other signs of a recent battle.
Looks like we're too late.
There are no other ships in the system.
Picard enters from the observation lounge.
Captain, we're approaching Amargosa. It looks like the observatory took quite a beating.
Survivors?
Sensors show 5 life signs aboard the station, Captain.
The station's complement was 19.
Stand down from red alert. Number 1, will you begin an investigation? I'll be in my ready room.
Sir?
Make it so!
I thought you'd want to...
Just do it!
Riker looks properly chastised for a minute and then springs into action.
Mr. Worf.
Aye, sir.
The two leave the bridge. Troy looks distraught over the captain's mood and behavior. We focus on the Amargosa Observatory. The away team beams in. The station is a disaster. Gas is venting, bulkheads fallen, only emergency lights on. The away team breaks off and begins to look around.
Mr. Worf, you're with me.
These blast patterns are consistent with a Type 3 disruptor.
Great. That narrows it down to Romulan, Breen, and Klingon.
Over here!
Worf finds someone alive. They begin to move equipment that has fallen on top of him.
It's all right. Do not struggle.
It's okay. We're right here. I've got you.
The survivor is free. He sits up and somehow it is the same man that had to be sedated on the Enterprise-B.
I'm Commander William Riker from the Starship Enterprise.
Soran. Dr. Tolian Soran.
Who attacked you, Doctor?
I don't know. It all happened so fast.
Elsewhere, Worf and his security team locates the remains of one of the station's attackers.
Commander! You better take a look at this! Romulans!
We focus on Data's quarters. LaForge and Data are working together at his table. Data's cat, Spot, is looking for some attention.
Data! Whatever possessed you to push her in the water in the first place?
I was attempting to get into the spirit of things. I thought it would be amusing.
Spot jumps on the table.
Spot! Is she still angry?
I'd stay out of the sick bay for a couple of days if I were you.
Data nods. Then he gets up and goes to a closet and gets out his emotion chip.
Data, you're not actually thinking of using that thing, are you?
I have considered it for many months. In the light of my recent episode with Dr. Crusher, now may be the appropriate time.
I thought you were worried it would overload your neural net.
That is true. However, I believe my growth as an artificial life form has reached an impasse. For 34 years, I have endeavored to become more human, to grow beyond my original programming. I am still unable to grasp such a basic concept as humor. This emotion chip may be the only answer.
Data removes the chip from its storage container and contemplates for a moment. Data extends it towards Geordi, who is very hesitant.
Geordi?
All right.
Geordi doesn't seem to like it, but he agrees to do what Data wishes. Data sits, and Geordi removes the top of his skull.
Listen, at first sign of trouble, I'm going to deactivate it. Agreed.
Agreed.
Geordi begins his work. We focus on the ready room. The lights are dim. Riker has changed back into his regular uniform, but Picard is still in his Navy uniform.
We found 2 dead Romulans on the station. We're analyzing their equipment to see if we can determine what ship they're from.
There's still no indication of why they attacked the station?
They practically tore the place apart, accessed the central computer, turned the cargo bay inside out. Obviously, they were looking for something.
This could signify a new Romulan threat in this sector. Inform Starfleet Command.
Want me to contact Starfleet?
Is there a problem?
No, sir. There was something else, Captain. One of the scientists, Dr. Soran. He insisted on speaking with you. I told him you were very busy, but he said it was absolutely imperative that he speak with you right away.
Understood. That'll be all.
Riker begins to leave and then turns. Picard has busied himself on a pad.
Sir, is there anything wrong?
No. Thank you.
Picard doesn't even look up from his pad. Riker leaves. We focus on 10 forward. LaForge and Data enter. Data has a ridiculous grin on his face. They make their way through the crowd to the bar. Guinan comes over with a bottle and some glasses on a tray.
Gentlemen, something new from Forcus 3?
Data takes a glass and drinks some of the liquid. He makes a face and shudders.
Oh!
What?
I believe this beverage has provoked an emotional response.
Really? What do you feel?
I am uncertain. Because I've had little experience with emotion, I am unable to articulate the sensation.
Guinan is confused and turns to LaForge.
Emotion?
I'll explain later.
Apparently a quick, we installed Data's emotion chip is too much explanation at the moment. Data drinks more from his glass.
Oof!
It looks like he hates it.
Yes.
Okay. Yes! That is it! I hate this!
Data! I think the chip is working.
Data downs the rest of his drink and shudders again.
Yes! I hate this! It is revolting!
More?
Please.
Data extends his glass. Picard enters. He looks around briefly and then stops a passing Bolian waiter.
I'm looking for a Dr. Soran from the observatory.
The Bolian points to the opposite end of 10 forward. Picard makes his way over.
Dr. Soran? Oh, it's muted.
Yes, yes, Captain. Thank you for coming.
I understand there's something urgent you wish to discuss with me.
Yes, I must return to the observatory immediately. I must continue a critical experiment I've been running on the Amagosa star.
We're still conducting our investigation into the attack. As soon as that...
Soran tries to interrupt with an argument, but Picard will have none of it. He continues a little more forcefully this time.
As soon as that is complete, then I will allow you and your colleagues to return. But until then, there's nothing I can do.
Timing is very important in my experiments. If it is not completed in the next 12 hours, years of research will be lost.
We're doing the best we can, if you'll excuse me.
Picard turns to leave, but Soran grabs his arm.
They say time is the fire in which we burn. Right now, Captain, my time is running out. We leave so many things unfinished in our lives. I know you understand.
I'll see what I can do.
Picard leaves. Soran checks his pocket watch and begins to leave as well. As he makes his way closer to the bar, he recognizes Guinan, and this makes him pause. She senses something, but he is out the door by the time she looks up. We focus on engineering. Worf is briefing Riker on his findings.
We have analyzed the Romulan tricorders. They were scanning for a signature particle of a compound trilithium.
Trilithium?
Yes, an experimental compound the Romulans have been working on. Trilithium is a nuclear inhibitor. In theory, it could stop all fusion within a star. However, the Romulans never found a way to stabilize it.
Why would they look for it on a Federation observatory? It doesn't make sense.
I do not know.
Have Geordi and Data go over with the next away team. Tell them to scan the observatory for trilithium.
Aye, sir.
We focus on the Amargosa Observatory. LaForge is scanning with his light wand.
Well, there's no sign of any trilithium over here.
Data is laughing in another part of the room. He makes his way over to LaForge.
I get it! I get it!
You get what?
when you said to Commander Riker, the clown can stay, but the Ferengi in the gorilla suit has to go.
What are you talking about?
During the Farpoint mission, we were on the bridge and you told the joke. That was the punchline.
Farpoint? Data! That was 7 years ago.
I know, I just got it. Very funny.
They begin to make their way down a corridor. Data is still laughing.
Wait a minute. There's a door hidden right behind here. I can see the separation with my visor.
There appears to be a dampening field in operation. I cannot scan beyond the bulkhead.
There doesn't seem to be a control panel or an access point. Port!
It appears to be magnetically sealed. I believe I can reverse the polarity by attenuating my axial servo.
Data opens up a little section of his arm and waves it in front of the door.
Open sesame!
You could say I have a magnetic personality. Humor! I love it!
Geordi is less amused. They begin to look around the room.
Data, come take a look at this, will you? Have you ever seen a solar probe with this kind of configuration?
Data opens and closes his tricorder like a mouth, answering Geordi's question.
No, Geordi, I have not. Have you?
No, I have not. It is most unusual. Mr. Tricorder!
Geordi is still not amused.
Just see if you can help me get these panels open.
Make it so.
Whoa, my visor's picking up something in the theta band. It could be a trilithium signature.
Data continues chuckling. Geordi is at his wit's end.
Data, we don't have time for this.
I cannot help myself! I think something is wrong!
The laughing stops, and Data suddenly seems to be in pain. The laughing begins again, alternating with the pain. Suddenly, he seems to have some sort of malfunction and falls to the ground.
Data! Data! Are you all right?
Data sits up.
I believe the emotion chip has overloaded my positronic relay.
We better get you back to the ship. LaForge to Enterprise. LaForge to Enterprise.
No answer. Soran appears.
Gentlemen, is there a problem?
Dr. Soran? Yeah, there appears to be some sort of dampening field in here. It's blocking our comm signal. Can you turn it off?
Of course. I'd be only too happy to.
Soran punches Geordi out and points a phaser with a little gear thingy at Data.
Please, please do not hurt me. Please.
We focus on Picard's quarters. He is looking through an old album with pictures of his family.
Yes, come.
Troy enters.
Yes, Counselor? Is there something I can do for you?
Actually, I've come to see if there's anything I can do for you.
Oh, it's just family matters. You never met my brother and his wife, did you?
Picard opens the photo album that he has been studying.
No.
Robert, so opinionated, so pompous and arrogant. He always had to have the last word. But he mellowed a little bit in the last few years. I was going to get together with them all next month on Earth. I thought we'd go to San Francisco. Renee's always wanted to see Starfleet Academy.
Renee? Oh, your nephew.
He's so unlike his father. He's a dreamer, imaginative, very gentle.
Captain, what's happened?
Oh man, Renee. There. Burned to death in a fire.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right, Counselor. These things happen.
Captain, it's not all right.
I can't help thinking about all the experiences that Renee is not going to have. Not going to the academy, reading books, and listening to music, falling in love, building a life. Well, that's not going to happen now.
I didn't realize he meant so much to you.
I'd come to feel that Renee was as close as I would get to having a child of my own.
Your family history is very important to you, isn't it?
What? Oh. From being a small child, I can remember being told about the family line. The Picard who fought at Trafalgar. The Picard who won the Nobel Prize for chemistry. The Picards who settled the first Martian colony. When Robert married and had a son,
You felt it was no longer your responsibility to carry on the family line.
Right. Yes, that's it exactly. You know, Counselor, recently I've become very much aware that there are fewer days ahead than that are behind. But I took comfort for the fact that the family would go on. But now there'll be no more Picards.
An explosion lights up the cabin window. We focus on the bridge. Picard and Troy enter. A star can be seen on the view screen.
Report.
A quantum explosion has occurred within the Amagosa star. All nuclear fusion is breaking down.
How is that possible?
Central records show that the observatory launched a solar probe into the sun a few moments ago.
The star is going to collapse in a matter of minutes.
Sir, the implosion has produced a level 12 shockwave.
That'll destroy everything in this system.
Transporter room to bridge. I can't locate Commander LaForge or Mr. Data, sir.
Have they come back to the ship?
No, sir. They're not on board.
How long before the shockwave hits the observatory?
4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Number 1.
Mr. Worf.
Aye, sir.
Riker and Worf leave the bridge. We focus on the Amagosa Observatory. Soran is looking at Geordi's visor. A voice comes over the intercom.
Soran, transmit your coordinates.
Soran hears Riker and Worf approaching and fires his phaser as they approach. Data is still hiding.
What the hell's he doing?
Enterprise to Commander Riker. You have 2 minutes left.
Did you hear that, Soran? We've got level 12 shockwave coming in. We've got to get out of here.
Soran continues to fire. We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Sir, a Klingon, bird of prey, is decloaking off the port bow.
What?
We focus on the Amagosa Observatory. The phaser fight continues.
Data, see if you can get to Geordi.
I cannot, sir.
Prepare for transport.
Geordi and Soran transport out to the Klingon bird of prey. The bird of prey recloaks. We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Commander Riker's team is aboard, sir.
Helm, warp 1, engage.
The Enterprise makes it out of there just as the shockwave demolishes the observatory. We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. We are inside an old Klingon ship. Watching the view screen are Lursa and B'Etor, two powerful-looking Klingon women, the Duras sisters. Aggressive, seductive, and very dangerous. B'Etor welcomes Soran.
You've done it, Soran.
Soran punches B'Etor.
Wait!
A scuffle ensues and several Klingons restrain Soran.
Wait!
B'Etor touches her bloody lip and approaches Soran. She wipes the blood on her finger off on his lips.
I hope for your sake you were initiating a mating ritual.
You got careless. The Romulans came looking for their missing trilithium.
Soran wipes the blood off his lips.
Impossible. We left no survivors on their outpost.
They knew it was on the observatory. If the Enterprise hadn't intervened, they would have found it.
They didn't find it, and now we have a weapon of unlimited power.
No, Lursa. I have the weapon. And if you ever want me to give it to you, I would advise you to be a little more careful in the future.
Perhaps we are tired of waiting.
Without my research, the trilithium is worthless, as are your plans to reconquer the Klingon Empire. Set course for the Viridian system. Maximum warp.
Bosh Taja, Viridian.
We focus on the Enterprise sickbay. There is a picture of Soran and several medical readings on one of the displays.
He's an Illyrian, over 300 years old. He lost his entire family when the Borg destroyed his planet. Soran escaped with a handful of other refugees aboard the ship called the Lakul. That ship was later destroyed by some kind of energy ribbon, but Soran and 46 others were rescued by the Enterprise-B.
That was the mission where James Kirk was killed.
I checked the passenger manifest of the Lakul. Guess who else was on board?
We focus on Guinan's quarters. It's beautiful, adorned with gold fabrics and lots of candles. She must be taking notes from Beverly. Picard is there.
Soran is a name I haven't heard in a long time.
You remember him?
Yes.
Guinan, it is very important that you tell me everything you know. No riddles. We think that Soran has developed a weapon, a terrible weapon. One that might even give him enough power to destroy.
Soran doesn't care about weapons or power. He just cares about getting back to the Nexus.
What's the Nexus?
The energy ribbon that destroyed that ship was not just some random phenomenon traveling through the universe. It's a doorway to another place that we call the Nexus. It's a place that I've tried very, very hard to forget.
What happened to you?
It was like being inside joy, as if joy was something tangible and you could wrap yourself up in it like a blanket. And never, ever in my entire life have I been as content.
And then you were beamed away from there.
Pulled, ripped away. None of us wanted to go. I would have done anything to get back there. But once I realized that wasn't possible, I learned to live without that.
And what about Soran?
If he's still obsessed, he could be a very, very dangerous man.
Why would he destroy a star? Thank you, Guinan.
If you go, you're not going to care about anything. Not this ship, not Soran, not me, nothing. All you'll want is to stay in the Nexus, and you're not going to want to come back.
We focus on the bird of prey. Soran is studying Geordi's visor again. Geordi is awake now, strapped to a table. For some reason, he's not wearing a shirt.
Marvelous technology. This is a remarkable piece of equipment.
I'm glad you approve.
Not very stylish, though, is it? Have you ever considered a prosthesis that would make you look a little more, how can I say, more normal?
What's normal?
What's normal? Well, that's a good question. Normal is what everyone else is, and you are not.
Can we just get down to it? What do you want?
As you may or may not be aware, I am an Elorian. Some people call us a race of listeners. We listen. Right now, Mr. LaForge, you have my complete attention. I want to listen to everything you know about trilithium.
We focus on space.
Captain's log. Stardate 48632.4. Dr. Crusher has informed me that Data's emotion chip has been fused into his neural net and cannot be removed. However, she believes he is fit for duty, so I have asked him to join me in stellar cartography.
We focus on stellar cartography.
According to our information, the ribbon is a conflux of temporal energy that travels through the galaxy every 39.1 years. It will pass through the sector in approximately 42 hours.
Yes, Guinan was right. She said that Soran was trying to get back to the ribbon. Now, if that's true, there has to be some connection with the Amargosa star. Data, give me a list of anything that was affected by the star's destruction, no matter how insignificant.
Data sits there unmoving, as if he didn't even register Picard is speaking to him.
Data.
Sorry, sir. It will take the computer a few moments to compile the information.
Data pauses again.
Data, are you all right?
No, sir. I am finding it difficult to concentrate. I believe I am overwhelmed with feelings of remorse, regret, concerning my actions on the observatory.
What do you mean?
I wanted to save Geordi, but I experienced something I did not expect. Fear. I was afraid.
The computer beeps, signaling the data Picard asked for is ready.
According to our information, the destruction of the Amargosa star had the following effects in this sector. Gamma emissions have increased by 0.05%. The starship Bozeman was forced to make a course correction. Ambient magnetic fields...
Wait, the Bozeman. Why would it make a course correction?
The destruction of the Amargosa star has altered the gravitational forces throughout the sector. As a result, any ship passing through this region would have to make a minor course correction.
A minor course correction? Where's the ribbon now?
Data pulls up the information on the large view screen.
This is its current position.
Can you project its course?
Data stands up, seeming agitated.
Captain, I cannot continue with this investigation. I wish to be deactivated until Dr. Crusher can remove this emotion chip.
Are you having some kind of malfunction?
No, sir. I simply do not have the ability to control these emotions.
Data, I have nothing but sympathy for what you are feeling. But right now, I need you to...
Sir, I no longer want these emotions. Deactivating me is the only viable solution.
Part of having feelings is learning to integrate them into your life, Data. Learning to live with them, no matter what the circumstances.
No, I cannot.
You will not be deactivated. You're an officer aboard this ship, and I require you to perform your duty. That is an order, Commander.
Yes, sir. I will try, sir.
Data sits back down.
Sometimes it takes courage to try, Data. Courage can be an emotion too. Now can you project the course of the ribbon?
I believe so.
Enhance grid 9A. Where was the Amargosa star? Now you said when the Amargosa star was destroyed, it affected the gravitational forces in this sector. Did the computer take that into account when it projected the course of the ribbon?
No, sir. I will make the appropriate adjustments.
Data works on, and the holographic display changes again. The red line representing the course of the ribbon now shifts to the right, away from the Amargosa star's position.
That's what Soran's doing. He's changing the course of the ribbon. But why? Why would he try to change its path? Why doesn't he just fly into it with a ship?
Our records show that every ship which has approached the ribbon has either been destroyed or severely damaged.
He can't get to the ribbon, so he's trying to make the ribbon come to him. Data, does it pass near any M-class planets?
Yes, sir. There are 2 in the Viridian system.
Oh, it's close to Viridian 3, but not close enough. Data, what would happen to the ribbon's course if Soran destroyed the Viridian star itself?
Data enters the data into the computer, and the ribbon's new course is shown to cut right through Viridian 3.
That's where he's going.
It should be noted, sir, that a collapse of the Viridian star would produce a shockwave similar to the one we observed at Amargosa,
destroying all the planets in that system.
Viridian 3 is uninhabited. However, Viridian 4 supports a pre-industrial humanoid society.
Population?
230 million, sir.
Picard to bridge.
Warp here, sir.
Set a course for the Viridian system. Maximum warp.
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. Soran enters. He still has Geordi's visor and is using some kind of tool on it.
Did you get anything from the human? Anything at all?
Sorry, the feckin' thing just flew to a different page. Sorry. No, his heart just wasn't in it.
We have entered orbit of Viridian 3.
Prepare to transport me to the surface.
Wait! When do we get our payment?
Soran holds up some sort of chip.
This contains all the information you'll need to make a trilithium weapon. It's been coded. Once I'm safely to the surface, I'll transmit the decryption sequence to you, not before.
Mistress, a Federation starship is entering the system.
What? On viewer.
The Enterprise can be seen on their view screen.
They are hailing us.
Ducha!
We are still cloaked. They can't see us.
Klingon vessel, we know what you're doing, and we will destroy any probe launched toward the Viridian star. We demand that you return our chief engineer and leave this system immediately.
There's no time for this. Eliminate them.
That's a Galaxy-class starship. We are no match for them.
I think it's time we gave Mr. LaForge his sight back.
We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Maybe they're not out there.
They're just trying to decide whether a 20-year-old Klingon bird of prey can be a match for the Federation flagship.
Is Troy present?
Perhaps they're on the surface.
Sir, according to my calculations, a solar probe launched from either the Klingon ship or the planet's surface will take 11 seconds to reach the sun. However, since we do not have an exact point of origin, it will take us between 8 and 15 seconds to lock our weapons onto it.
That's a pretty big margin of error.
Much too big. Mr. Data, how long before the ribbon arrives?
Approximately 47 minutes, sir.
I've got to find some way to get to Soran.
Klingon vessel decloaking directly ahead, sir. They are hailing.
On screen.
Captain, what an unexpected pleasure.
Lursa, it is very important that I speak with Soran.
I'm afraid the doctor is no longer aboard our ship.
Then I will beam to his location.
The doctor values his privacy. He would be quite upset if an armed away team interrupted him.
Then I will beam to your ship and you can transport me to Soran.
Captain, you can't trust them. For all you know, they killed Geordi. They might kill you too.
We did not harm your engineer. He's been our guest.
Then return him.
In exchange for what?
Me, sir.
Me. I will be your prisoner. But first, you must beam me to the surface so I can speak with Soran.
The captain would make a much more valuable hostage.
We'll consider it a prisoner exchange.
Agreed. Have Dr. Crusher meet me in Transporter Room 3. You have the bridge, number 1.
We focus on the Enterprise transporter room.
Receiving the coordinates, Captain.
Energize.
As Picard beams out, Geordi beams in. He collapses. Dr. Crusher and Nurse Ogawa attend to him. We focus on a Viridian 3 mountaintop. Picard beams in. There is a scaffolding rocket launcher at the summit.
Welcome, Captain. You must think I'm quite the madman.
The thought had crossed my mind.
I know why you're here. You're not entirely confident you can shoot down my probe, so you've come to dissuade me from my horrific plan. Good luck. Now, if you'll excuse me, Captain, I'm rather busy.
Soran!
As Picard moves towards Soran, he is temporarily stunned by this field.
Do be careful, Captain. That's a 50 gigawatt force field. I wouldn't want to see you get hurt.
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge.
I have established the link.
Put it on, viewer. It's working. The visor's transmitting.
The ceiling of one of the rooms of the Enterprise can be seen on their view screen.
Where is he?
Dr. Crusher's face appears on the view screen. She is talking, but we can't hear her.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Human females are so repulsive.
We focus on the Enterprise sickbay. Geordi is awake and Crusher is filling him in on his prognosis.
There's a myocardial degeneration. I've removed the nanoprobe, and I think you're going to be fine. I'll need to run some more tests. I will let you know.
Thanks, Doc.
Data comes in, looking dejected.
Geordi.
Data. It's okay.
I am sorry I let you down. I have not been behaving like myself lately.
No, Data. You haven't. You've been behaving like a human.
Hearing this cheers Data up a bit. We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. Picard is trying to get closer to Soran while steering clear of the force field.
You don't have to do this, Soran. I'm sure we could find another way of getting you into this Nexus.
I've spent 80 years looking for another way. Believe me, this is the only one.
Soran presses some buttons on a keypad and a rocket reveals itself on the launcher.
What you're about to do, Soran, it's no different from when the Borg destroyed your world. They killed millions too, including your wife and children.
Soran pauses to think about this.
Nice try. You know, there was a time I wouldn't hurt a fly. Then the Borg came. They showed me that if there's one constant in this whole universe, it's death. Afterwards, I began to realize it didn't really matter. We're all going to die sometime. It's just a question of how and when. You will too, Captain. Aren't you beginning to feel time gaining on you? It's like a predator. It's stalking you. Oh, you can try and outrun it with doctors, medicines, new technologies, but in the end, time is going to hunt you down and make the kill.
It's our mortality that defines us, Soran. It's part of the truth of our existence.
What if I told you I found a new truth?
The Nexus?
Time has no meaning there. The predator has no teeth.
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. Bator and Lursa are still watching the visor's output on their view screen. They seem bored.
Where is he now?
He bathed. Now he's roaming the ship. He must be the only engineer in Starfleet who doesn't go to engineering.
We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Any luck, Mr. Worf?
No, sir. I cannot locate the captain.
The sensors still cannot penetrate the planet's biosphere. There's too much interference. Can you find a way to scan for life forms?
I would be happy to, sir. I just love scanning for life forms. Life forms. You tiny little life forms. You precious little life forms. Where are you?
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. Bator watches Geordi walk into engineering.
Finally!
We see Lieutenant Farrell talking to Geordi.
Commander, I'd like to run a level 3 diagnostic on the port plasma relays. I think one of the generators is fluctuating.
Fine. Let's do it.
The Klingons watch closely as LaForge looks at the panels at different stations. He looks at one that contains a schematic of the ship.
That's it. Replay from Time Index 924. Magnify this section and enhance. Ha! Their shields are operating on a modulation of 257.4.
Adjust our torpedo frequency to match 257.4.
The Bird of Prey launches a torpedo attack on the Enterprise. The torpedoes fly right through the shields and strike the Enterprise. We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
They have found a way to penetrate our shields.
Lock phasers and return fire.
The Bird of Prey strikes again. This time a torpedo hits the bridge, taking out a couple of the officers.
Deanna, take the helm. Get us out of orbit.
Hull breach on decks 31 through 35.
The Enterprise changes course, attempting to run from the Bird of Prey.
Mr. Worf, what do we know about that old Klingon ship? Are there any weaknesses?
It is a Class D12 bird of prey. They were retired from service because of defective plasma coils.
Plasma coils? Is there any way we can use that to our advantage?
I do not see how. The plasma coil is part of their cloaking device.
We focus on the Enterprise engineering. They are taking a beating.
Let's get a stabilizer on that conduit. Reinforce that starboard interlock. Reroute main power through secondary coupling.
We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Data. Would a defective plasma coil be susceptible to some sort of ionic pulse?
Perhaps. Yes! Yes! If we were to send a low-level ionic pulse, it might reset the coil and trigger the closing device. Excellent idea, sir!
As their cloak begins to engage, their shields will drop.
Well, that's 2 seconds they'll be vulnerable. Mr. Data, lock onto the plasma coils.
No problem!
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge.
Our shields are holding!
Fire at will.
We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Mr. Worf, prepare a spread of photon torpedoes. We'll have to hit them from the instant they begin to cloak.
Aye, sir.
We're getting one shot at this. Target their primary reactor.
I have accessed their coil frequency. Initiating ionic pulse.
Make it quick.
There is a major explosion on the Enterprise bridge. Crew goes flying.
Ow.
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge.
Target their bridge.
Full disruptors.
We are cloaking!
What?
Our shields are down!
We focus on the Enterprise bridge. Riker is pissed.
Grrr. Fire!
We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. The Klingons watch as a single torpedo heads towards their ship and destroys it. We focus on the Enterprise bridge. All is silent as the crew watches the destruction. Data celebrates with a fist pump.
Yes!
We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. Picard picks up a handful of stones and throws one at the force field. Soran stops what he's doing to see what Picard is up to.
Haven't you got anything better to do?
Soran resumes his activities on the rocket. Picard notices a hole in a pile of rocks that may be his best chance. He throws a stone through it, and it doesn't trigger the force field. We focus on Enterprise engineering.
It must have been that last torpedo. LaForge to bridge. I've got a problem down here. The magnetic interlocks have been ruptured.
Another explosion rocks engineering.
Coolant leak. We have a coolant leak. Everybody, let's go. Let's get out of here. Everybody out. Let's move. Let's move. Let's go. Bridge. We have a new problem. We're 5 minutes from a warp core breach. There's nothing I can do.
We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
Deanna, evacuate everyone to the saucer section. Mr. Data, prepare to separate the ship.
We focus on the Enterprise corridors. Various crew members and civilians are making their way along them. One kid seems to be holding a tribble. Doesn't he know how dangerous those are?
Starship separation in 5 minutes.
Crew members continue through the corridors.
Starship separation in 4 minutes, 35 seconds.
We focus on sickbay. The medical crew are stabilizing patients and readying them for evacuation.
Starship separation in 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Crew members are making their way through the Jeffries tubes.
Starship separation in 4 minutes, 15 seconds.
Geordi is in the corridors helping with the evacuation.
Farrell!
Yes?
There's no one with these kids. Let's get them to the W tube. We'll find the parents later.
Starship separation in 4 minutes.
We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. Soran makes a few final adjustments.
Now, you'll have to excuse me, Captain. I have an appointment with Eternity, and I don't want to be late.
Soran begins to climb the ladder to the summit. Picard moves to widen the hole in the rocks. We focus on the Jeffries tubes. Geordi is making his way up a ladder.
The core breach is accelerating. We've got to get out of here.
Geordi closes a hatch.
That's it, Bridge. We're all out.
We focus on the bridge.
1 minute to warp core breach.
Begin separation sequence. Full impulse power once we're clear. Warp core is going critical.
The Enterprise begins to separate.
Separation complete.
Engaging impulse engines.
Core breach in progress.
The lower
Primary-
half of the Enterprise explodes.
Primary stabilizers offline. Engaging secondary systems.
They lose control of the saucer section.
Report!
Helm controls are offline.
We can see the planet getting closer on the view screen. Data realizes the saucer section is hurtling towards the planet.
Oh, shit!
We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. As Soran climbs the rocket, Picard crawls through the hole in the rocks. The rocks collapse, trapping him and activating the force field. Soran spots him and fires his phaser. The rocks collapse and Picard is nowhere to be seen. Could this be the end of our beloved captain? Meanwhile, the saucer section of the Enterprise enters the planet's atmosphere. We focus on the Enterprise bridge.
I have rerouted auxiliary power to lateral thrusters. I'm attempting to level our descent.
All hands, brace for impact.
We focus on the Enterprise crew quarters. LaForge and Farrell are hunkered down with the kids.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on tight.
Crusher and the medical staff are trying to keep their patients safe.
Hold their heads!
Equipment and furniture fall over. Crew members go flying. Panels explode and Worf looks like he gets a pretty serious neck injury. Thank God there are no storage containers around that could fall on him. Fires break out all over the ship. The saucer section finally comes to rest after crashing through a forest. Data checks on Troy.
I'm okay.
Worf starts to get up. Riker looks up to see the sky through the shattered bridge dome. The ship has left quite a path of destruction on the planet's surface. We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. As Soran goes to cross the scaffolding bridge, he is confronted by Picard. Of course he didn't die. They fight and Picard succeeds in knocking Soran's phaser out of his hand and off the bridge. As the fight continues, Picard is knocked down. He falls from the bridge.
Ah!
Soran hears a rumble and looks up to see the Nexus ribbon in the sky. Picard gets up just in time to see the rocket launch toward the sun. Upon impact, the sky turns dark, and they see the Nexus change course, getting closer to them. As the ribbon passes through their position, both disappear. The shockwave from the collapsed star follows shortly behind, destroying the planet, the Enterprise, and all of its crew. We focus on Picard. He is blindfolded, spinning amongst lights. He is disoriented.
What? What is this? Where am I?
The blindfold is removed to reveal a Victorian Christmas scene and a bunch of children.
Surprise!
We love you, Father!
Were you scared? I helped decorate the tree.
I helped decorate it.
It took all day.
Say Merry Christmas, Papa.
Senior present?
I love you, Father.
I love you too.
Move back and give your father some room.
The children head to the tree to look through the presents. Picard is content. A woman holds out her hand to him.
Cup of Earl Grey?
That would be perfect, dear.
Renee comes over holding a small present.
This one's for you.
Oh, thank you very much, Renee.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
And Merry Christmas to you, too.
Picard's wife calls from the dining room.
Renee, can you help me with the table?
Renee begins walking to her.
Renee, come here.
He comes back. Picard pulls him in for a hug, overjoyed to see his nephew once again.
Go and help your aunt.
Picard takes a sip of port and then settles in to watch his kids with their presents. He gets up and crosses the room to the tree, where he notices a glass ball with a blinking light. It looks like an exploding star. He walks into his study, has a quick look around, and then looks out the window at the falling snow. There is another Christmas tree outside, with several glass balls with exploding stars in them. Picard is unsettled.
This isn't right. This can't be real.
It's as real as you want it to be.
Guinan, in the same outfit she wore aboard the Enterprise-D, is in his study.
Guinan, what's going on? Why am I here?
You're in the Nexus.
This is the Nexus?
For you, this is what you wanted.
But I never had a home like this. Nor a wife and children. But these are all mine. Guinan, what are you doing here? I thought you were aboard the Enterprise.
I am. I'm also here. Think of me as an echo of the person you know, a part of herself she left behind.
When the Enterprise-B beamed you up from the Lakul?
Picard's kids interrupt them.
Papa, help me build my castle.
Yes, I will. In a few minutes.
Papa, thank you for the dolly. I've named her Prudence. She's very beautiful.
The kids run off, back to their new toys.
These are my children. These are my children.
Of course. Time has no meaning here. So you can go back and see them born, or go forward and see your grandchildren.
Dinner's ready, everyone.
Dinner's ready, Papa.
Picard begins to head into the dining room with Matthew, but then stops.
Go on. Go on without me.
Picard watches as his wife and kids settle at the dining table. Guinan is riding a wooden horse on a small carousel that has appeared in his living room.
Guinan, can I leave the Nexus?
Where would you go?
I don't understand.
Well, as I said, time has no meaning here. So if you leave, you can go anywhere, anytime.
All right. I know exactly where I want to go. The mountaintop on Viridian 3, just before Soran destroyed the star. I have to stop it, but I need help. Now, if you were to come back with me, together we can...
I can't leave here. I'm there already, remember? But I bet I know someone who can.
We focus on a large wooden cabin in the mountains. Kirk is outside, chopping firewood.
And from his point of view, he just got there too.
Picard walks up.
Kirk? James T. Kirk?
Kevin?
I think you might have the wrong person.
Beautiful day.
Yes, it certainly is.
Kirk is still chopping wood. He points to the pile of logs beside Picard.
Would you mind?
Oh.
Picard places a log on the block.
Captain, I'm wondering, do you realize...
Hold on a minute. Do you smell something burning?
We focus on the cabin kitchen. The captains enter. There is a pan of eggs burning on the stove.
Looks like somebody was trying to cook some eggs.
Kirk grabs the pan and turns off the stove. He dumps the eggs into the sink and rinses the pan. Picard lingers in the doorway.
Come on in. It's all right. It's my house. At least it used to be. I sold it years ago.
I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the starship Enterprise.
A clock begins to chime on the mantel.
The clock!
Kirk crosses the room to the mantel.
I gave this clock to Bones.
I'm from what you would consider the future, the 24th century.
A dog barks in the doorway. A large Great Dane enters.
Butler! Butler, how can you be here? He's been dead 7 years.
A woman's voice can be heard from upstairs.
Come on, Jim, I'm starving. How long are you rattling around in that kitchen?
Antonia!
Kirk looks at Picard.
What are you talking about? The future? This is the past. This is 9 years ago.
Kirk opens a box and picks up a cloth bag. He pulls out a golden horseshoe.
The day I told her I was going back to Starfleet.
Kirk heads back into the kitchen and picks up a large egg.
These are Katarian eggs. It was her favorite. I was preparing them to soften the blow.
I know how real this must seem to you, but it's not. This isn't really your house. We're both of us caught up in some kind of temporal nexus.
Kirk cracks the egg into the pan.
Dill.
I beg your pardon?
Dillweed. In the cabinet, second shelf to the left. Behind the oregano.
How long have you been here?
I don't know. I was aboard the Enterprise-B in the deflector control room. Stir these, will you?
Ow!
Kirk thrusts the hot frying pan into Picard's hands.
Ow!
The bulkhead in front of me disappeared. Then I found myself out here just now, chopping wood. Right before you walked up. Thanks.
Kirk grabs a tray, which has already been laid out with a plate, a drink, silverware, and a small bud vase complete with flour. He picks up the egg. He plates up the egg, even.
Look, history records that you died saving the Enterprise-B from an energy ribbon 80 years ago.
You say this is the 24th century?
Aha.
And I'm dead.
Not exactly. As I said, this is some kind of...
Temporal nexus. Yeah, I heard you. Something is missing.
2 slices of toast pop up from the toaster. Kirk grabs them and adds them to the tray. He heads towards the stairs. Picard follows.
Captain, look, I need your help. I want you to leave the Nexus with me. We have to go back to a planet, Viridian 3. We have to stop a man called Soran from destroying a star. Millions of lives are at stake.
You said history considers me dead. Who am I to argue with history?
You are a Starfleet officer. You have a duty.
I don't need you to lecture me about duty. I was out saving the galaxy when your grandfather was in diapers. Besides which, I think the galaxy owes me one. All right. I was like you once. So completely blinded by duty and obligations that I couldn't see anything past this uniform. And in the end, what did it get me? An empty house. Not this time.
Kirk climbs the stairs with purpose.
This time, I'm going to walk up these stairs, march into that bedroom, and tell Antonia that I want to marry her. This time, it's going to be different.
Picard follows Kirk through the bedroom door, but instead of a bedroom, they find themselves in a barn.
This is not your bedroom.
No, it's not. It's better.
Better?
This is my uncle's barn in Idaho. I took this horse out for a ride 11 years ago on a spring day, like this. If I'm right, this is the day I met Antonia. This Nexus of yours is very clever. I can start all over again, do things right from day one.
Kirk mounts the horse and rides out. Picard saddles another horse to follow him.
1 sec.
Picard's looking for his saddle.
I am.
Where is my saddle?
Every true rider has his own saddle.
We focus on the Idaho countryside. Kirk jumps a ravine on the horse. He stops, turns, and jumps the ravine again. Picard has caught up to him.
I must have jumped that 50 times. Scared the hell out of me each time. Except this time. Because it isn't real.
Kirk sees a woman on a horse on a distant hill.
Antonia?
She isn't real either, is she? Nothing here is. Nothing here matters. You know, maybe this is less about an empty house than that empty chair on the bridge of the Enterprise. Ever since I left Starfleet, I haven't made a difference.
Kirk looks at Picard, this time finally properly seeing him. He saddles his horse up next to him.
Captain of the Enterprise, huh?
That's right.
Close to retirement?
I'm not planning on it.
Let me tell you something. Don't Don't let them promote you. Don't let them transfer you. Don't let them do anything that takes you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference.
Come back with me. Help me stop Soran. Make a difference again.
Who might argue with the captain of the Enterprise? What's the name of that planet? Viridian 3?
Yes.
I take it the odds are against us, and the situation is grim.
You could say that.
You know, if Spock were here, he'd say I was an irrational, illogical human being for taking on a mission like that. Sounds like fun.
Where the hell are my eggs?
We focus on the Enterprise bridge. The captain's magical Nexus portal has somehow reversed time and brought everyone back to life. The Enterprise is about to crash again.
I have rerouted auxiliary power to the lateral thrusters. I am attempting to level our descent.
All hands, brace for impact.
The Enterprise thruster section crashes on the planet's surface. We focus on the Viridian 3 mountaintop. Soran is on the scaffolding bridge again. He fires on us stuck in the rocks. Picard once more. As Soran makes his way across the bridge, he is stopped once again. This time by Kirk.
Just who the hell are you?
Picard is behind him.
He's James T. Cook. Don't you read history?
Soran slips through the bars of the bridge and runs away.
I've got to get to the launcher. The ribbon will be here in a minute.
I'll take care of Soran.
Kirk goes after Soran, only to be confronted by him, phaser in hand.
Actually, I am familiar with history, Captain, and if I'm not too much mistaken, you're dead.
Picard jumps down from above. A fight breaks out. Picard is knocked down the rock face. Kirk disarms Soran and they continue hand-to-hand combat. Kirk's specialty. Soran slips and goes off the side of the mountain, grabbing a rope at the last minute.
I thought you were heading for the launcher.
I changed my mind. Captain's prerogative.
Soran, still dangling from the rope, uses his pad to cloak the rocket launcher. The rope gives way and Soran begins to fall. He drops his pad. The rope catches again before Soran can fall to his death. The pad lands on the scaffolding bridge.
We need that control pod. Captain, look. Where's Soran?
Kirk runs onto the bridge and Soran blasts it with his phaser. The bridge breaks in half and Kirk is left dangling on the now destroyed bridge. Kirk begins to climb but slips. Picard reaches out and catches him. He pulls him up to safety.
We're running out of time. Look, the control pad is still on the other side.
I'll get it. You go for the launcher.
No, you'll never make it by yourself. We have to work together.
We are working together. Trust me.
Good luck, Captain.
Call me Jim.
Kirk descends the broken half of the bridge slowly. The fastenings are starting to give way from the stress. He jumps to the other side, but this causes more stress to the dangling bridge. The pad falls, and Kirk grabs it. He decloaks the rocket just as Picard reaches the platform. The bridge gives way and plummets with Kirk still holding on. Picard begins to work on the panel on the rocket launcher.
Picard! Get away from that launcher. Now!
Soran points his phaser at Picard, who raises his hands and backs away slowly. Picard jumps off the platform and runs toward Kirk. Soran makes his way over to the platform and sees that Picard has engaged the locking clamps. The rocket explodes, with Soran still on the platform. As the ribbon passes them by, Picard finds Kirk. He's alive, but in bad shape.
Did we do it? Did we make a difference?
Oh, yes. We made a difference. Thank you.
It's the least I could do for the captain of the Enterprise. It was fun. Oh my.
Kirk always thought he'd die on the bridge, but as it turns out, he dies under one. Picard buries Kirk under a cairn, leaving his comm badge on the rocks. A shuttle arrives to pick him up. We focus on the Enterprise saucer.
Captain's log, stardate 48650.1. Three Starfleet vessels have arrived in orbit and have begun to beam up the Enterprise survivors. Our casualties are light, but unfortunately, the Enterprise herself cannot be salvaged.
We focus on the Enterprise cargo bay. Crew members are cleaning up and removing as much as they can.
It has been extremely difficult, Counselor.
Then why did you decide not to remove the emotion chip?
At first, I was unprepared for the unpredictable nature of these emotions. However, having experienced 261 distinct emotional states, I believe I have learned to control my feelings. They will no longer control me.
That's psychologically valid. I hope you're successful, Data. Data, over here. I found something. One life sign, very faint.
Data removes a bunch of debris.
Spot!
Spot is dirty and hiding, but appears uninjured. Data picks him up and hugs him close.
I am very happy to see you, Spot.
Another family reunited. Data, are you all right?
I am uncertain, Counselor. I am happy to see Spot, and yet I am crying. Perhaps the chip is malfunctioning.
I think it's working perfectly.
Hello, Spot.
We focus on the Enterprise ready room. Riker and Picard are rummaging through the debris, which includes the extremely rare archaeological item, an intact 3rd Dynasty Kurlan Naskos from the episode The Chase. And upon discovering that it's intact, he places it back onto the floor.
Is this it?
Yes, that's it, number one. Thank you.
Picard picks up his family photo album and dusts it off.
I'm gonna miss this ship. She went before her time.
Someone once told me that time is a predator that stalks us all our lives. I rather believe that time is a companion who goes with us on a journey and reminds us to cherish every moment, because they'll never come again. What we leave behind is not as important as how we lived. After all, number one, we're only mortal.
Speak for yourself, sir. I plan to live forever.
Riker and Picard walk into the now utterly destroyed bridge.
I always thought I'd get a shot at this chair one day.
You may still, Will. Somehow, I doubt this will be the last ship to carry the name Enterprise. Picard to Farragut. to the beam up.
And thank you, everyone. Okay, here, let's go back into... Yeah, here we go. Oh, no, that's not it. Well, that concludes our script read of Star Trek Generations here on Star Trek Radio Theater. We got a great cast that was breaking this all down here in this room. 4 actors. Can you believe it? I got myself playing Data. I'm Dave Maynard. Jane playing Geordi LaForge. Jody playing Scotty, and many other roles, including a pirate, although you were not too busy for the second hour. And Justin Velociraptor here as well, who was playing Captain John Harriman, also Kermit the Frog, as well as Riker, and a few other little roles.
And Antonia.
Yes, we were supposed to have Steve. Hear myself. We were also supposed to have Stephen Waters with us, but we're not sure what happened to him. We think he either fell asleep or didn't know about the time change. So thanks, Justin, for stepping in there. Of course,
he was in the Nexus for sure.
He was in the Nexus, yes. Well, here we'll just go through the whole cast. Of course, we had Ashley Millard, who I think was our narrator. Well, I know she was our narrator, but I think she had the most amount of lines or narration of anything we've ever done here. Like, you had a lot. I hope your voice held out.
It's my throat's not feeling great, but unfortunately I'm sick. But it's okay. It was fun.
You were a trooper. You did great. Kevin Millard, who played Chekhov in the first scenes, and then became Lursa until he got blown up, and then I guess you didn't have much to do after that either. But you were, great villain, of course, with our other member of the Duras sisters, which was included. Heather Narduzzi, who also was playing Guinan. In this,
I would have never guessed.
We never would have guessed. Maybe the headwear. We also have, of course, had Tom Mott Tyrell playing many roles, Worf, and I lost track of how many. Pretty much every Klingon and other lieutenant or whatever off screen. Many of these characters had Philly accents, but many didn't. So that was great.
One was in puberty.
Yeah, a few of them. Of course, joining us for the first time ever, Callie Woodward playing Dr. Crusher and some of our journalists and a few other roles. Great job. Welcome to the show. Adam Woodward, Deanna Troy, and several others, I believe. The computer and a couple other. You were Jeff's wife, Picard's wife, which was pretty funny there.
Couple of Earl
Grey. We also had Davin Skellhorn in the role of James T. Kirk. He's busy. Yeah, we got Jeff Mader as well as Captain Picard. Great job, Jeff. Papa. I named my dog Prudence, Papa.
Papa, can you please put more eyeshadow on me?
I think Davin's back. Here's our Kirk.
It's one crisis after another over here today.
Yes.
Can I just comment on the magnificent confidence of Commander Riker? Like, how many times do you get offered the chance to live forever in a lifetime? Maybe one in a billion, one in a million.
Mm-hmm.
By this point in this movie, he had already been offered that and turned it down. He thinks he's going to get another one.
Well,
I'm just saying, he's magnificent.
He views it as life on a boat with no women and no, I think that's why that line is in there at the beginning.
No women? Yeah, get me out of here.
That's the opposite.
Hey, Ursula. I hope everything's feeling better there. And Sean Farrick playing Dr. Tolian Soran and the LaCool distress call as well. Sean coming to us from TrekCulture.com and Ireland as well. So quite a different time zone. Although I do think you kind of maybe changed your accent a bit for Soran.
I tried to do my best Malcolm McDowell, so it probably varies wildly throughout the thing.
No, it was excellent all the way through.
What did you think of Jodie's Scottish accent?
Terrible.
Listen, it's put it this way. I'm sure somebody once said, "What do you think of James doing Scottish accent as well?" And probably had to go, "Well, listen." So you're in good company. You're in good company.
We're Canadian, like James Doohan, so we could just imitate accents and hope it gets there and everything else.
I enjoyed the slight hints of German in the Picard.
Yeah, you got a little German at the pies.
I went back and forth.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. Well, okay, there was one line where Mott was like, "We've established the uplink" or whatever, but it was the way he read it was so unusual. I couldn't stop laughing.
I heard a bunch of people laugh. I was like, "What's going on?"
I don't know what the line was exactly. You were like, "We've established the up." It was just your the cadence of it all. But I don't even. I can't even find it now. But you're like when you were on with the Duras sisters there. Luckily, I didn't have to.
Klingon that had just arrived at the age of ascension.
Yeah, he wasn't fully bearded. And everything else.
He probably had a big torch on his face.
Yeah.
I guess the first, Callie, and as one of our first timers, how was this experience for you?
You got me? It was fun. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. Sean, how was this experience for you?
This has been lots of fun. I've really enjoyed this. This has been good crack.
Yeah, it was. We're thrilled to have all of you here today. Thanks so much for those who came into the room because we thought we were going to have a limit on our number of feeds, but I guess theoretically you guys could have stayed home.
Damn it.
But hey, we didn't know that Murphy and Steven were gonna fall asleep or whatever. Did they message, by the way?
Murph did.
I got a priority message from Starfleet. Murphy and Steven are being installed on Tuesday.
They're dead to us.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Tuesday.
It will be. They're showing up on Tuesday, guys. So then we'll be good to go. Well, I know we all have to go and get on. Thanks so much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone out there. We hope you love this movie as much as us. Thanks for everyone who's watching live. I wasn't able to keep up with the live comments, but we had some great listeners along the ride here. We really appreciate that support, and make sure to go through and read it out. It will take between 8 and 15 seconds to lock our weapons onto it. Yeah, that's right. And
why did Worf not know that would the coils would work?
I don't know. He's like,
don't start asking questions.
Don't ask questions.
After that line it was the first time I thought of it, and I'm like, why would he know that?
The thing that always strikes me is that they can go back to any point. They don't have to go back to that.
Why did he go back to the point where
they could go back?
Just screwed up again.
They could go back to the time before the Enterprise-D blows up, although Picard doesn't know about that. But
he could go back to when Soran meets him for the first time in the 10 forward. He could just throw him in the brig.
Hey, arrest this man!
Couldn't Soran do that too?
I have a very time-sensitive experiment. No, you don't.
No, you don't. You're done. Or the thing is, but Soran gets into the Nexus as well. So,
yeah. I think there's a spin-off movie where he's actually just this really nice guy in the Nexus. Spends all of his Nexus time just fixing all of the bad things you have to do to get there. And actually, there's it's a real Care Bears version of Soran's story.
I love it. I think we need that.
They should do it as a flashback or one of those montages from the 80s.
Yeah. It just starts off as Soran walking through a field, touching his fruit, being a farmer and cooking it. And then suddenly Picard shows up with Kirk and they take off his head.
Oh yeah. Picard always thought he'd die on the bridge, but he dies under one. Yeah.
That was gold.
Great. Yeah. That was one of yours, Ashley, right?
That was, yeah.
That was great. And thanks for reading that complicated line I threw at the end because with the archaeological item because I was always every time I watch that movie you see Picard throw it up and then throw it away and we're like that thing's super valuable. That's how they found the thing, right? So I was like,
but his pictures were more important.
He needed the album. He wanted the album. Everything else, including we don't know what happened to the fish, but
he's grieving. He's not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
Also, without money, how did Kirk ever sell his house?
Yeah.
Right. We don't have money in the future, but
that's another good one.
Yeah.
He traded it for some eggs.
The Ferengi Consortium bought it for Space B&B.
Yeah, he gave away his clocks and everything else, so I don't know. You had to barter for those things. Anyway, but thanks so much, everybody. This has been a blast, and we'll see you on the next one for season 5 of Star Trek Radio Theater. We'll see what that will look like.
I'm not coming back on for another year.
Okay, we'll see you next year, Jody. All right. Yeah. They say time is the fire in which we burn, but maybe this is a reminder for us all to cherish every moment and live for today, because it will never come again. And with that said, thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time here on Live Long and Podcast. Have a safe New Year, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.